All right, so let's dive right into something that's been all over the news lately, soda taxes. You sent over some research on whether they can really, make a difference in the obesity epidemic.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic. Lots of debate on the role of government and all that.
For sure. And the
Yeah.
obesity problem itself is just massive, right? I mean, it's easy to just skim the headlines and think, oh yeah, soda tax, easy fix.
Yeah, it seems simple at first, but there's always more to the story, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah,
before we get into all the soda tax details, can we just take a minute to really grasp how big of a problem obesity is?
absolutely. The World Health Organization, they estimate over 17 million premature deaths every year. And it's all linked to being overweight or obese, chronic diseases.
17 million. Wow. That's more people than live in some entire countries. It's a global crisis.
It is, and it comes with a huge economic cost too. Globally, we're looking at about $2 trillion annually.
2 trillion, that's what, 3% of the entire world's economy?
Roughly, yeah. 3% of global GDP. So yeah, it's a massive issue on multiple levels.
Okay, so definitely not just about individual choices then. It impacts all of us. So no wonder people are trying to find solutions. And I guess sugar gets a lot of the blame, right? Especially sugary drinks.
It makes sense, right? I mean, you grab a can of soda, easy to down, but you're talking 10 teaspoons of sugar, sometimes more. That's your whole daily recommended intake right there.
In one drink.
Yeah.
So I guess taxing soda, making it pricier, seems logical.
Supply and demand, right? Make it expensive, people buy less, problem solved. Or so the thinking goes.
Makes sense. And, I mean, there are soda taxes popping up everywhere. Cities, whole countries trying it out. But the research you send over, it suggests it's not the cure-all people think it is.
Yeah, there are some, complications. Like the UK, they have a soft drinks industry levy, and it did some good. But the average person, their sugar intake only dropped by 18 calories per day.
18 calories. Seriously, that's like one bite of a donut.
Right. Not exactly a huge change. So that raises the question, why isn't it more effective?
Yeah. I mean, if it's that simple, tax it. People stop buying it. Why doesn't it work better? What's the article say?
Well, first off, sometimes businesses eat some of the tax. They don't want to raise prices too much, scare customers away.
So even if the government taxes it a lot, the price on the shelf might not go up that much.
Right. It's a balancing act for companies. Got to keep selling.
Well,
There was that study in California, Bay Area. They had a 10% price hike on sugary drinks. Sounds like a lot, right?
yeah, 10%, that ought to do it.
But purchases only went down 5 to 7%. And the crazy thing, total sales revenue actually went up.
Wait, so people are still buying soda, just maybe a tiny bit less?
Basically, so the tax maybe affects sales a little, but not the big picture sugar intake.
Huh. Okay, so not quite as straightforward as it seemed.
And then there's the cross-border shopping issue.
Oh, right. If your city has the tax, but the next town over doesn't, people just drive a few miles and stock up.
Exactly. Makes the tax way less effective. Philadelphia, they saw a 46% drop in sales initially, which sounds huge, but over half of that was people buying soda outside the city.
So good for the numbers, but people are still drinking the same amount, just getting it elsewhere.
Pretty much. Later studies there showed even smaller drops in sales, so maybe that initial impact was an overestimate.
Okay, so lots of real-world stuff getting in the way of the simple tax idea. But the article also talked about fairness, right? Equity issues. What's that about?
Yeah, there's this concern that low-income communities, they get hit harder by soda taxes. They tend to drink more sugary beverages, and studies show they end up paying more of the tax.
So they're hurt more financially, but maybe not even getting the health benefits if the tax isn't actually stopping people from drinking soda.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation, ethically speaking. Some argue that the money from the tax can go back into programs that help those communities.
That makes sense, I guess. But the article asks, is a soda tax really the fairest way to fund those programs? Couldn't that money do more good somewhere else, addressing the root problems?
It's a good question. It seems like we need to think bigger than just tax the soda, done. Look at the bigger picture.
You've given me a lot to think about already. What started out simple is getting more and more complicated.
It happens, right? The law of unintended consequences, they call it, shows how important it is to look at these public health issues from all angles.
Definitely. Well, I'm hooked now. We've seen why soda taxes might not be the answer, but what else is out there? What are some other options?
That's what we'll look at next. Let's dive into some alternative solutions that might be more effective in tackling this obesity problem.
All right, so soda taxes alone. Maybe not the silver bullet, but we're not giving up, right? The research you sent, it talks about other ways to tackle this.
Oh, absolutely. Lots of different strategies out there. Might even need like a combo of a few things to really work.
Okay, so what's in the toolbox then? What are some of these other ideas people are talking about?
Well, one idea is instead of just taxing how MUCH soda people buy, tax the sugar itself directly.
Oh, interesting. So not like a flat tax per can or bottle, but based on how much sugar is actually in it.
Exactly. That way, companies are pushed to cut down on sugar across the board, not just soda, all their drinks. Actually, the UK saw some success with this.
Really? How did that work out?
When they did their sugar tax, a lot of the reduction came from companies actually changing their recipes, using less sugar.
Huh. So hitting them where it hurts, the recipe itself, makes it healthier for everyone, and companies can still sell stuff. Win-win, maybe.
Yeah, it's got potential. And it makes you think, we got to zoom out, look beyond just soda. Sugar's hiding in tons of stuff if we want to get serious.
Right. Processed foods, snacks, even some things that seem healthy, yogurt, granola bars, they can be loaded with sugar.
You said it. Big picture thinking, that's what's needed.
So taxing sugar directly, that's one tool. What else is there?
Another idea that's gaining traction is subsidies. Making healthy stuff cheaper, like fruits, vegetables, whole grains.
Oh, I like that. Make the healthy choice, the easy choice, price-wise.
Right. Nudge people in the right direction without banning anything or being too strict.
I've also heard about those warning labels. You know, like big warnings on packaging for high sugar stuff. Think that could work?
Yeah, there's definitely more and more of that happening. Clear labels telling you exactly how much sugar's in there, what the risks are. Give people the info, let them decide.
The research mentioned Chile, Peru, Uruguay, they're doing that. High in sugar, boom, right on the label. Sometimes you need that, like a visual slap in the face to make you think twice.
Make it unavoidable, right? Can't ignore it when it's staring you down from the shelf.
So many good ideas here. But where does personal responsibility fit into all this? It's taxes, subsidies, labels. Are we taking away people's choice?
That's the good question, isn't it? It's a balance, finding ways to encourage healthy choices, but still respecting that people can decide for themselves.
Yeah, not about forcing anyone, but giving people the info and the tools to make good choices about their health.
Exactly. No blame, no shame, but just encouragement, you know? Everyone's got to play their part.
So it's not like government does this or people do that. It's got to be both, working together. Find solutions that work, A&D, respect people's freedom.
Couldn't have said it better myself. A system that helps people be healthy, but ultimately, yeah, we all decide what we eat.
Man, I'm seeing this whole thing in a new light. I thought it was simple, but wow, so many layers.
It always is, right? Especially with big, complicated problems like this. Takes some real thinking to get it right.
You know, this conversation, it's making me realize in this world, with info coming at us from every direction, it's easy to just accept the simple answers. But like with these soda taxes, you got to dig deeper.
Absolutely. Critical thinking, questioning what you hear, that's crucial. No easy answers, especially with something like obesity. It takes real analysis, looking at things from different sides.
A lot to chew on, that's for sure. We've seen soda taxes, maybe aren't the best. We looked at some other options. Feeling more informed, but also realizing just how complex this all is.
And that's a good place to be, honestly. The more we understand how complex it is, the better we can find solutions that actually last.
So where do we go from here? What are some main takeaways for our listeners, things to keep in mind as they learn more about this?
Well, gotta remember, no quick fix for this. Obesity, it's a big problem, needs big solutions, and it'll take time.
We've talked about taxing the sugar itself, subsidies, education, even personal responsibility. Lots of tools in the box.
And which ones work best? Depends, you know. The community, what resources they got, no one right answer for everyone.
That's where that critical thinking comes in again. We got to look at different ideas, weigh the pros and cons, and push for solutions that are smart and fair. You know, it's kind of crazy we spent all this time on just soda taxes, and it's clear it's not a simple issue at all.
Yeah, it's a good lesson, right? Even things that seem straightforward, once you dig in, there's always more to it, especially with health and policy. So many moving parts.
Totally. Like that saying, every complex problem has a solution that's simple, clear, and wrong. Seems to fit here.
Right. Obesity, it's not a one solution kind of problem. Can't just wave a magic wand, tax soda, and boom, everyone's healthy.
Like we need a whole strategy guide, not just one cheat code. Taxing the sugar itself, making healthy food cheaper, education campaigns, and then, like we said, people got to take responsibility too. So many factors.
And like we talked about, the right mix, it's going to depend. where you are, what resources are available, no one size fits all, makes you think, really got to be thoughtful about this.
Yeah, this whole deep dive, it's really about thinking critically, right?
Yeah.
Not just taking things at face value. Got to dig in, see the nuances, all the little things that can go wrong, even with good intentions.
Couldn't agree more. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, the simple answers, but to make real change, you got to go deeper.
Okay, so as we wrap up here, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder. If it's not just about soda taxes, what do you think is the best way to tackle this whole obesity thing? What's going to work?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, I don't think anyone has the perfect answer yet. It's going to take more research, more conversations, trial and error, but it's a conversation worth having for sure.
Absolutely. So to everyone listening, keep learning, keep asking questions, form your own opinions. It's about making the world healthier, and that starts with each of us.
You got it. Keep those brains working, folks. Until next time.